I'd like to thank Rosanna Berardi one more time for the previous interview. That got a lot of attention. Thank you, Rosanna. I appreciate your being a part of it. Next up, not all restaurants are failing or struggling during this corona crisis. In fact, one is doing very well. And as you can see here, I have Chiavetta's Chicken. So next up, Kathleen Chiavetta of Chiavetta's Chicken, and she's going to tell you how well they're doing and how they're doing it. So I hope you enjoy the interview, and I will enjoy my Chiavetta's Chicken. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm here with Kathleen Chiavetta. She is the Director of Business Development. Kathleen, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and about Chiavetta's?
Sure. So Chiavetta's is a 4-generation family business. My grandparents started as, my grandfather and his brother started as egg farmers. A lot happened between now and then. So yeah, we have 4 generations, 3 of which are still active in the business. So my dad still works, myself, and then my 3 children work in the business as well. So yeah, I'm a mom, first and foremost, above everything. I also am on the Lakeshore Central Board of Education and actively involved in the Erie County Association of School Boards. So in my free time, when I'm not working, I'm trying to be involved in the community.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So your family started in the egg business, and some of those eggs hatched, huh? And eventually it evolved.
They sure did. They sure did. Yeah, evolved is definitely the word I would use.
Well, that's great to hear. Before Corona, how many employees did you have?
No, we have about 15 full-time year-round employees. And then depending on the time of year, anywhere from an additional 20 to 50 or so part-time and seasonal employees.
Okay. And then since the Corona crisis, has there been any adjustments? What adjustments have you had to make?
We are really fortunate in that we've had the opposite problem that a lot of other small businesses have had. We went from thinking we were going to have to lay off most of our workforce to calling in those part-time
Oh, wow.
and seasonal people. We've actually been really busy the last 2 weeks, and it's been just about all hands on deck.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah. So most restaurants have had to shut down or really ramp it down. And you're saying that the opposite is happening with you.
Exactly. As has happened with us a couple times in the past, Tony, we've really underestimated how much people want their Chiavetta's chicken barbecue. We really were not sure what to expect, and we were overwhelmed by the support and the demand of our community. We have takeout at 2 locations, our location in Lockport, which is just off of Transit, and then our main location here in the town of Brant, which is deep in the South Towns. Demand has been really high there. And then we also continued satellite barbecues. We do barbecues from remote locations, and the demand there has been overwhelming. On a good day prior to Corona, if we did 600 dinners at one of these satellite barbecues, that was a huge success to us. And last week we were planning for, in the neighborhood of 1,600, 1,800 dinners for each of those events. So they've really exploded.
Wow. So you have 2 restaurants, yes? Is that what I heard?
Yeah. So we have one and a half.
One
So
and a half.
our 2 locations work a little differently. The location in Lockport is a quick style service restaurant. Go in, order your dinner. You can sit down and eat it there, but a lot of people are taking it to go. It doesn't really work that way in the Brant location. That's our main headquarters. Everything is based out of there. All of our fundraisers, our on and off-site catering, everything is based out of that location. So we didn't really have the room or the setup to serve takeout. But back to talking about evolution, when we saw how the Lockport location really took off and realized that there was a high demand for takeout dinners, we started it, I'm going to say summer of 2018, started offering weekend takeout, just Saturdays and Sundays. We started Memorial Day weekend. We didn't know what to expect that first weekend. We thought, okay, maybe 10 people will come in off the street and want to take out dinner. And that might sound low, but we're in a really rural location. There's only 2,000 people that live in our town. And we're a bit of a distance from communities of population. So we planned for 10 dinners, 70 people walked in the door, and it really has blown up and taken off from there. So right now we're doing takeout in Lockport every day, 7 days a week, from 11 to 6. And then in Brant, we do it Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 5.
Wow. So this the way you're doing it now, there's nobody's actually coming into the restaurant. This is all just
Right.
order and pickup.
Yeah, we have changed the business model. For about a week, we were changing our business model every day before we sort of started to settle into the new normal. But yeah, particularly at the Brant location, nobody's coming in to pick up the dinners. People are either phoning ahead or ordering ahead, or we will take an order right in the parking lot. Customers do not need to come inside, and then our employees bring the dinners out, drop them in the trunk or in the back seat if we can, really trying to reduce or eliminate that person-to-person contact.
Well, I love the fact that you did that quick pivot too, that you literally were making changes on a daily basis. So can you kind of walk me through the days and how they evolved? Where did you start? And
Sure.
obviously you kind of shared where we ended.
And I have to say too, being a large and old business, we've been around for over 65 years. I'm sure you can imagine pivoting is not something we're used to doing on a daily basis at all. We've had very similar business model for a really long time, and quick change is not necessarily something that I would say is our forte. And so this is really a credit to what amazing people we have and what a great team we have. As I said, when this first started, we had to have a conversation with the employees that they were going to need to possibly prepare the next week to file for unemployment. At that time, we didn't really think there was going to be anything going on. We've had over 100 events, fundraising events, cancel. Those pickup or drop off catering orders obviously are not happening. And we thought, well, we had just reopened takeout in Brant. We were just going to restart the satellite barbecues, our pop-up barbecues. So why don't we try and see what happens? And we have to make some changes. So before, you couldn't order online from our website. We had to get that up and running quickly. We had to start the communication to our customers to let them know they could order ahead, they could pay ahead. So we started. And then the evolution that happened after that wasn't so much reinventing the business model. It was, how big is this going to grow, and how many people are we going to need to staff these things? Typically, one of those satellite barbecues needs 5 people, where those have more than doubled in size. So right now we're looking for 12 employees is optimal to staff a satellite barbecue, and we're sort of struggling to get that.
Is that right? So are you saying you're hiring right now?
We're not going as far as hiring for a couple of different reasons, although we're certainly open to people who are perhaps looking for work, but we're sort of re-examining everything we're doing on a regular basis. For example, we're not really employing, we have a really large like high school workforce, kids who are 15, 16, 17 years old. trying to keep those kids at home just to sort of keep them safe. We've made a lot of moves to try to keep our employees safe. Their safety is really our top priority, but just trying to provide that additional protection, to our young team.
Yeah.
Trying to space our employees out, eliminate that customer contact. So while we're trying to make sure that we're doing everything we can to be diligent about taking care of the workforce that we have before we start to grow the additional workforce and bring new people in.
That's great. That's great. I'm glad that you're doing that. That's obviously that's extremely important, especially in these times.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think that people in the food industry sort of have a leg up on a lot of other places because people in the food service industry are already taking health, sanitation into consideration, or should be, on a daily basis. So the jump that we had to have from normal operations to now operations isn't as large as maybe some other places. We did institute additional sanitation procedures right from the very beginning. Extra cleaning at the start of the day, at the end of the day, reinforcing employee illness policies, hand washing, all the things everyone else was doing. But fortunately, we had a lot of those policies and procedures in place already.
That's great. That's great. Just a couple more questions that I ask everybody. We're all quarantined. Who are you quarantined with at your home?
So my 4 cats, who are wonderful company. My youngest daughter, who is 18, she's been with me here the whole time. We actually there's a sticky note I keep up on my wall that says, "Today is quarantine day." So she and I are on day 17, in case you're counting. My middle daughter, she was actually in Florida at the very beginning of this. So we flew her home. She quarantined by herself at her apartment for 2 weeks. She just came home yesterday, so that was like a big celebration. So I have 2 of my 3 children at home. My son is staying elsewhere right now. So it's me, 2 girls, 4 cats, and I went out into my yard the other day and counted 12 woodchuck holes. So I would say that probably means also about 5 or 6 woodchucks. Those are my friends right now.
That's hilarious. And everybody's getting along?
Everyone is getting along. I have to say, in our family, we're really a bunch of introverts. We're solitary creatures by nature. So this isn't as big of a leap for us as it is for people who are very social. I'm getting very, very busy with work, probably about 10 or 11 hours a day. I never would have believed I could do so much work from home. But other than that, trying to get outside, make sure I leave the house at least once a day.
That's great. That's great. And then finally, we all have a little spare time when you're not working. What are you doing, or what are you watching on Netflix?
Yeah, so counting woodchuck holes. And I haven't even gone that far out into the yard. Again, we're in a real rural area. Believe it or not, Tony, I'm so busy with work. I spend probably 14 hours a day in my kitchen between work and cooking dinner. You'd think this would be a dream come true for someone who loves to watch Netflix as much as I have. But no, I've hardly had any time for TV, and it's kind of sad.
And then finally, if we wanna order Chiavetta's chicken, where do we go? What do we have to do?
Yeah, best place to go is to our website, which is just chiavettas.com. The very first thing you'll see on the homepage is order now. 2 buttons, one for the Lockport location, one for the Brant location in the Southtowns. Really important to make sure that you click the right button.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Kathleen Chiavetta, Director of Business Development, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Tony. My pleasure.
Great. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Take care.